Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about two films I've seen recently, those movies being Together and Eddington. I'm going to be giving a spoiler-free review for each film. Timestamps are going to be in the description below, just in case if you just want to hear about one specific movie, but for right now, let's just get started. Together, directed by Michael Shanks, starring Dave Franco and Alison Brie. This is the directorial debut of Michael Shanks, his first feature-length film, and he decided to go with a weird, bizarre, grotesque body horror movie, and it's pretty good. He showed some promise. This movie's not perfect. I did have some flaws with it, but there is promise here. I think one of the strongest features about this film, one thing that I loved about it, was that it's always trying to explore its own limits. It's trying to push what exactly can be done in its own body horror story, which I always respect and admire, because when it comes to body horror, this genre, if you really think about it, at least on the creative side, it really is limitless. Some of the most bizarre, compelling, impressive scenes and sequences ever put to horror cinema have come from body horror. I still remember the first time I saw the dog transform in The Thing, or Jeff Goldblum's final transformation in The Fly. God, it was gross. It's as remarkable as it is disgusting and traumatizing to look at. Saying all that, let me clarify real quick. I'm not putting Together on the same pedestal as The Fly or The Thing. It's nowhere near that, obviously. I don't even think it's near the substance, in my opinion. But nevertheless, there is some creativity, there is some imagination, and there is enough impressive VFX done here to be awed by. Like, if you're a freak and you like weird horror, you will enjoy it, as did I. I seriously doubt anybody would leave the movies watching this and not having their jaw drop at least one time. The body horror done here is easily my favorite part, especially in the final act. That last shot is worth it alone, seeing this in the theater. Now, that being said, I do wish the writing was a bit more compelling. The story itself does take some time for things to really get going, and although I do love a slow burn, like Skinamarink is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and some people would argue it's so slow, literally nothing happens. And to those people, I'd say, true! I'm kidding, no. I would argue it quite literally builds a perfect, ominous atmosphere of dread and eeriness, and its patient, slow burn pace absolutely helps build that. But that's not happening in Together. It wasn't trying to be a slow burn. It wasn't going for dread or atmosphere. Besides a really well done creepy sequence in the beginning, it was just a slow, boring start, a pretty mundane first act. The movie revolves around our two main characters, played by Dave Franco and Alison Brie, and a lot of the story and conflict is about their relationship, but neither their relationship nor them are terribly interesting or compelling. Yet we spend so much time with them and it just feels like filler rather than actual captivating, good storytelling. The tone felt a little bouncy too. The first two acts felt like it awkwardly wanted to balance genuine terror of the situation at hand and black comedy. Like I said, the tone felt a little disjointed at times. Like, is this supposed to be absurd to where I should laugh? Should I just be shocked? Am I supposed to take this as serious as the scene before this one? It didn't feel concrete. And for that reason, the final act is really the best act for me. It was the part of the story where the horror black comedy mesh finally felt solidified. It fully embraced the absurdity of this story. Our characters essentially became Looney Tune-esque goofballs, and it finally felt like a cohesive, fun, wild ride. To wrap it up, some final notes. The cinematography was nothing to note about. It was okay, nothing crazy. The acting was good in some areas it wasn't. Alison Brie for the most part was solid, but Dave Franco, I couldn't believe, especially when he's supposed to be in a more serious tone, or we're supposed to take him or the part of the story he's in more seriously. That didn't work. His comedic timing was good. He worked best in the more crazy, ridiculous moments of the story, and also the parts that required him to become sort of a whiny, weak, nasally bitch. He was perfect for that. But the parts where he had to be the straight man, he could have delivered several lines and emotions better. Or maybe he couldn't, and that's why these takes made the cut. Ooh, hello! Overall, pretty cool body horror movie. It takes time for the crazy cool shit to happen, but when it does, it happens. And for that reason, I probably would rewatch this film. I'm giving Together a 6 out of 10. You should catch this in theaters while you still can. Again, that final shot alone is worth the theatrical experience. It's amazing. Speaking of amazing, let's talk about the next film, Eddington, directed by Ari Aster, starring Pedro Pascal, Joaquin Phoenix, Emma Stone, and Austin Butler. Absolute amazing cast for an absolutely amazing movie. Eddington has surpassed Sinners for my current favorite film of 2025. This takes the crown, I want to say easily. I need to rewatch it. Eddington is the 4th feature-length film from everybody's favorite white boy, Ari Aster, the freak behind Hereditary, Midsommar, and Beau is Afraid. That catalog, along with Eddington, I would argue, absolutely solidifies him as one of the most interesting filmmakers to pop out of the 2010s. Say what you will about him. Say what you will about Ari Aster. I know some people would argue his films are either too weird or too slow. I know other people, especially on film Twitter, would argue that he's an uninspired hack. To that I say, true! No, I'm playing. Like I said, say what you will about him, but you will talk about him. You will talk about his movies every single time. Every single one of his films get the people moving.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
gets the people going.
Or at least talking. And I think that's good for the culture. I think that's good for cinema. And in my opinion, he hasn't missed yet. I have enjoyed all of his movies. The director's cut of Midsommar, hold that thought, being my favorite Ari Aster film. Up until this point. Now I'm not sure because Eddington's up there. Okay, let me lay out the plot. This is a neo-western set in Eddington, New Mexico, where tensions rise as the local sheriff, played by Joaquin Phoenix, and the mayor, played by Pedro Pascal, go head-to-head in the upcoming election. And this all takes place in 2020 during the peak of the COVID pandemic. Yes, we're going back to the quarantine zone. This is a satirical, hyper-realistic reflection on essentially the unfortunate, tragic ramifications of COVID-19 and the quarantines. This movie showcases the loss of perception, the loss of trust in our government and our news outlets, whatever little may have remained, the consequences of that, and overall, just how schizophrenic everybody became since then. And when I say this movie showcases the growing irrationality of the American people, that does not make this a centrist film. I've seen some people on Twitter say, oh, I hate a movie that does a both sides bullshit. This doesn't do that. Yes, this movie displays both sides and their quote-unquote faults, but it shows one side as being two-faced and obnoxious. It shows the other side being straight up bloodthirsty. Like, one side is the clear actual danger to other humans. The spite and paranoia that fuels that side, it's very clear. I think it's very clear what this film is trying to say. Just because you poke fun at both sides doesn't make this I think both sides are clearly on the same level of wrong. No. Oh, we're the violent side. Doesn't your side do riots? Buddy, first of all, your side is kind of known for also doing riots, but even with that aside, I think when it comes to violence, there's a clear, distinct level of severity from someone who may participate in a riot and someone who becomes a mass shooter. In the United States, a far left-leaning person, someone who self-identifies as a Marxist-Leninist or a socialist, they may have radical opinions on police, gender, class. They may partake in a protest or even a riot. Now, that being said, in America, a far right-leaning person, someone who self-identifies as a white supremacist, white nationalist, they will shoot up a fucking Walmart. For every left-leaning trans person you could find that was a mass shooter, I can find you 50 that identified as right-wing, neo-Nazi, incel virgin dipshits. Oklahoma City bomber, El Paso Walmart shooter, the Charleston church shooter, the Allen Mall shooter, the Buffalo shooter, the Jacksonville shooter, Elliot Rodger, the Proud Boys, the KKK. I wonder what what do all these people have in common? What is the pattern here? I wonder what makes these people so fucking dangerous to society. Could it be their belief system? I don't know. And I don't want to speak too much on the themes because I eventually want to rewatch this and do a full spoiler-filled breakdown. This movie gives you so much to chew on. There's so much depth and motivation shown through our characters, through what's on screen, while other characters are purposely not fleshed out and they're chosen to be put on the sidelines because that alone aligns with what the film's trying to say. So much I want to talk about, but I'll keep it at that. This is Ari Aster's best script by far. It's also incredibly funny. Every movie after Hereditary, Ari Aster has implemented some level of comedy, but to me, this is by far his funniest movie. I know some people are gonna still say Beau's Afraid just for the absurd surrealism of it. My opinion, Eddington easily takes the crown as his funniest movie. There were several times where the film had the entire audience actually erupting. And in the next moment, audibly gasp, dead silence follows. Because we are in shock. Because this wouldn't be an Ari Aster film if there's not a disturbing, fucked up scene. And trust me, this movie has that. Eddington is able to balance the dark comedy tone with the darkness and coldness of these characters very well, surprisingly well. Only critique I'd have to give would be maybe the final act. There was a tonal shift that, although didn't feel too jarring, I think my engagement with the story dwindled a little bit. And maybe that could just be for how strong I felt about the first two acts. Like, the crescendo for me was not the shootout, but a scene involving a Katy Perry song and its aftermath. Again, no spoilers. I can't speak on it. Wonderfully acted from everybody. It's an Ari Aster film, so the cinematography is obviously going to be good. It may not be as visually breathtaking as some of his other films, but still solid nonetheless. It puts many films that have come out this year to shame when it just comes to the visual aspect. There are some gorgeous shots of the city at night. It's got a fantastic story, like I said, and for how long it is, besides the final act going on maybe a bit too long, the movie truly never lost me. It just kept building momentum on momentum as we learned more about the town, as we learned more about the characters and their dynamics, their relationships with each other. The world just felt so interconnected and alive and real. It felt like such a genuine small town, which just made this into such a fascinating, entertaining watch. I am giving Eddington an 8 out of 10. It is closer to a 9 than a 7. So far, it is my favorite film of the year. I'm gonna have to rewatch it just so I can confirm how I feel about that final act. But nevertheless, fantastic film. Highly recommend everybody watch it. It's gonna be polarizing, but you should still watch it regardless. Alright, y'all, that does it for this video. Thank you for watching. I have part 2, best and the worst movies of the first half of 2025. I have that cooking. It is on the way. It should be here either this week or next week. It just depends on how fast I want to get that weapons review out, because I'm seeing that this weekend as well. We're hyped. And obviously, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs. Thank you to everybody who watched. Swan's family. I'll see you at the next one.